Hello friends. Today I want to tell you the gripping story of a 37-year-old man named David, who thought stress was the reason behind his tiredness, but later discovered the surprising fact. David was only 37 years old, a young man who seemed to have everything going well on the outside. He had a stable job in a busy corporate office, a small family that loved him, and dreams of building a better future. But behind that normal routine, something dangerous was slowly building up. Every morning, his alarm rang before sunrise. Still half asleep, David would drag himself out of bed, grab a cup of strong coffee, and skip breakfast. He believed coffee was enough to kickstart his day. His wife sometimes reminded him, "You should eat something healthy," but David always said, "I don't have time. I'll eat later." That later never came. At work, the stress was endless. His office desk was piled with files, contracts, and deadlines. Clients kept calling, emails kept coming, and he never seemed to catch a break. Lunch was usually fast food, greasy burgers, fries dripping with oil, or sometimes just a packet of chips with soda. He often worked late, and by the time he reached home, it was already night. Dinner came at p.m., and it was almost always fried chicken, pizza, or processed snacks. David believed this was normal. He thought that at 37, feeling tired and stressed was part of life. But slowly, his body began to show him small warning signs. He had frequent headaches, especially after work. Sometimes while looking at his computer screen, his vision blurred. Climbing the stairs left him breathless. His heart raced suddenly, even when he was just sitting. He often felt restless at night, waking up sweaty and exhausted. He ignored these signs. He told himself it was just fatigue, maybe because of too much work. But deep inside, something dangerous was happening. His blood vessels were under pressure. His heart was working harder every day. And slowly, without making noise, hypertension was tightening its grip on him. His family began to notice changes too. His wife saw how he had no energy left in the evenings. His kids wanted to play, but David only wanted to lie down. Sometimes he felt irritable and lost patience quickly. He thought it was just stress, but in reality, it was the silent damage of uncontrolled blood pressure. Hypertension is called the silent killer because it doesn't always show clear symptoms. It hides inside the body, damaging the heart, brain, kidneys, and blood vessels slowly. By the time most people discover it, it has already caused serious harm. And for David, the silent killer had already entered his life, he just didn't know it yet. One ordinary morning, David was rushing to work, carrying his bag, checking his phone, and thinking about the meeting he was already late for. As he stepped out of his house and hurried towards the bus stop, he suddenly felt something strange. His head grew heavy, his vision blurred, and for a few seconds, everything went dark. His legs trembled, and he nearly collapsed. People around him caught his arm and asked if he was okay. David tried to smile and say, "I'm fine," but inside he was terrified. His heart was pounding hard, his chest felt heavy, and sweat rolled down his face. His colleagues rushed him to a nearby clinic. The nurse quickly placed a cuff on his arm and checked his blood pressure. The machine beeped and showed 170/110 mmHg. Everyone looked shocked. The nurse called the doctor immediately. The doctor came in, looked at the numbers, and then at David. His expression turned serious. "David, this is not normal. Your blood pressure is dangerously high. At this level, you're at risk of a stroke, heart attack, kidney damage, and even sudden death." David was speechless. "But doctor, I'm only 37. I thought blood pressure problems happen to old people." The doctor shook his head and said, "No, David, that's a common misconception. Today, even young people in their 20s and 30s are being diagnosed with hypertension. Modern lifestyle, unhealthy food, lack of physical activity, stress, poor sleep, too much salt and caffeine is making this condition more common than ever." The doctor then explained the symptoms David had ignored for months. Those frequent headaches weren't just from stress, they were warning signs. His blurred vision wasn't from computer strain, it was because of increased pressure in his blood vessels. The sudden breathlessness and racing heart were not random. They were clear red flags. His night sweats and constant fatigue were not normal. They were signs his heart was under strain. David listened, shocked and afraid. He realized that all the little things he ignored had been messages from his body. But he brushed them aside because he thought, "I'm young. Nothing serious can happen to me." The doctor continued, "Hypertension is called the silent killer because it damages your body silently. Without obvious symptoms, it can cause stroke, which can leave you paralyzed or even end your life in seconds. Heart attack, where your heart stops working due to pressure. Kidney failure, where you may end up on dialysis for the rest of your life. Vision loss, because high pressure damages the tiny blood vessels in your eyes." David's hands began to shake. The thought of stroke or kidney dialysis terrified him. He couldn't believe that at just 37, he was standing on the edge of such dangerous health problems. Then the doctor asked about his lifestyle. David admitted his eating habits: too much fast food, soda, salty snacks, and late dinners. He confessed that he hardly exercised, barely slept 5–6 hours a night, and lived under constant stress. The doctor nodded and said, "This is exactly why your blood pressure is out of control. Your body has been giving you signals, but you ignored them." That night, David could not sleep. He kept replaying the doctor's words in his head. "This is the silent killer. It can take away your life without warning." Every beat of his heart reminded him that something inside his body was not right. The thought of a stroke scared him the most. He imagined himself lying in a hospital bed, unable to move his arms or legs, unable to speak to his children, unable to hug them or guide them. He thought of kidney failure and the endless visits for dialysis. He thought of losing his eyesight, never seeing his family again. And then, he thought of his children growing up without their father. That was the moment David decided, "I will not let this disease control me. I will take control of my life." The very next day, he returned to the doctor for guidance. David started with his plate. For years, he had been eating salty chips, fried foods, burgers, and sodas almost every day. The doctor told him, "Salt is like fuel for high blood pressure. The more you eat, the higher your pressure goes." David immediately reduced his salt intake. For the first time, food became medicine for him. Becoming active again, exercise was something David had ignored for years. His job kept him glued to his chair for 10 hours a day. But now, he made movement a priority. At first, even a 15-minute walk made him sweat and gasp for air. But he pushed himself gently, day by day. Within weeks, he was walking 30 to 40 minutes every evening. He added light jogging, stretching, and yoga. His doctor also recommended breathing exercises, which helped calm his stress and improve oxygen flow. David noticed something surprising. The more he moved, the more energy he had. His mood improved, his sleep became deeper, and his blood pressure readings started to drop. Managing stress. Stress had been his invisible enemy. Every deadline, every financial worry, every family responsibility weighed on him. He now understood that stress hormones push blood pressure higher. So, he built new habits. He practiced deep breathing for 10 minutes every morning, spent time with his children, and took short breaks during work to stretch and relax. Sometimes he prayed, sometimes he meditated, and sometimes he simply sat silently, letting his mind calm down. This daily practice reduced his anxiety and gave him a sense of control over his emotions. Respecting sleep. For years, David had treated sleep as optional, sleeping at midnight, waking up early, scrolling his phone late into the night. Now, He realized that poor sleep increases blood pressure and damages the heart. He made strict rules: no phone after PM, no late-night shows, no unnecessary work. He created a calm, dark bedroom environment and aimed for 7 to 8 hours of deep, restful sleep every night. Within weeks, he felt fresher. His headaches reduced, and his pressure readings improved. Months passed, and the results shocked even David. His blood pressure dropped from 170/110 to near normal levels. His doctor was amazed at his discipline and told him that if he kept going, he might avoid long-term medication. But the biggest change was in David's confidence. He no longer lived in fear. Instead of waiting for illness, he chose health every day. His colleagues noticed he was more energetic. His family admired his determination. And even his children learned healthy habits from him. David's story spread among his friends. Some of them, who were also ignoring their health, decided to get their blood pressure checked. A few of them discovered they too had hypertension and started making changes. David's courage became their inspiration. David realized that high blood pressure is not just about numbers on a machine. It is about life itself. It is about being able to see your children grow, being strong enough to work, travel, laugh, and live fully. High blood pressure can destroy silently, but it can also be defeated through awareness, prevention, and consistent habits. The truth: exercise 30 minutes a day can save your heart. Reducing salt and processed food can protect your arteries. Managing stress and sleeping well can keep your blood pressure balanced. Regular checkups can catch problems before they become fatal. David's fight teaches us this powerful truth. Hypertension is not the end, it is a warning, a wake-up call. If you act today, you can save your tomorrow. And this is the message you must take with you: your health is in your hands. High blood pressure may be a silent killer, but knowledge, discipline, and lifestyle changes are louder. Choose life. Choose health. Start today.